Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your October general readings, October 2017 general readings. And as you can surmise from my background, yes, I am back from tooling around Europe for the last few months, back in my more or less home base of California. I say more or less because I'm often prone to taking off and doing the gypsy thing. As always, thank you for those of you who continue to watch, follow, listen, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for all your support, feedback, and comments. They always do mean a lot to me. So keep them up. Thank you so much. And for those of you who always and will continue to keep me so busy in reaching out for personal one-on-one readings and to my regular clients as well. And if any of you out there are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me and you haven't read with me before, you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage. I know they've changed the format again recently. You can go to my YouTube channel's homepage, click on the About or Description button to get a little bit more information, and it also has my email address there, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week, so turnaround time is usually pretty quick. I can usually get back with you within a day of your initial contact. Turnaround time for readings, live or recorded, is anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks. Almost always within that period of time, I can schedule a reading with you. I do a wide variety of readings, love and romance, of course. I do compatibility charting for relationships, career, work, and finance, career overviews, general life overviews. I do monthly packages as well, channeled messages from loved ones, and I also do cleansings too. So if you're interested, send me an email. We will go from there. These are general readings, and there's many of you watching, that's always why we suggest that you check your rising and your moon sign videos as well if you know them and if you can. You may find that your rising or your moon sign or your sun sign may resonate a little more predictively for you some months than at other times. But watching all three just gives you a little bit of additional insight and clarity into what's going on in your life. You may find that one of your signs may resonate more for you in one area of your life, and like your rising or your moon sign may resonate for you in different areas of your life as well. So watching all three, if you can, just gives you a bigger picture. So we're looking at the month of October 2017 in its entirety. I am recording these in the last week of September. So I'll be pulling the traditional 2 cards for each week, time being somewhat fluid, of course, with an additional 9th card from the bottom of the deck as your crowning card, representing overall energy and advice. All right, enough with the intro. Let's get right into this. This reading is for the water sign of Cancer, our crabs for October 2017. Cancerians, we have the 8 of Pentacles, followed by the Hierophant. We have the King of Wands, followed by Temperance. We have the Chariot, followed by the 5 of Swords, and the Lovers, followed by Death or Transformation. And from the bottom of the deck, as your overall energy and guidance, we have the Knight of Cups. Wow, Cancer. Half your reading is major arcana cards here. We have the Chariot, the Lovers, Death, Temperance, and the Hierophant. Actually, 5 out of 9 cards, and that includes your crowning card, is major arcana cards. So it looks like a pretty important month for you. Energetically, and it also looks like a lot of divine timing and orchestration is strongly at play may feel like at play some of the times at play here, and also some pretty strong messages and advice from Spirit as well. Let me just take a look here. You actually have an absolutely even elemental energy here for the pip cards. You have 4 minor cards and 5 major arcana cards. So your 4 out of your 4 minor cards, or your 4 pip cards as we call them sometimes, you have one from each of the 4 suits. You have a cups, 1 pentacles, 1 wands, and 1 sword. So some of you, again, this is a general reading. There's a lot of you watching. Some of you, this is going to be in one area of your life. Others, it's going to resonate more for you in another area of your life. I think a lot of you are probably going to feel this as a relationship reading, but for some of you, this is going to be a job issue or a work issue as well. So we begin with the 8 of Pentacles and the Hierophant. So Pentacles is earth energy, usually manifest in the earthly, tangible, concrete areas of our life. Money, finances, work, resources, property, job, etc. The 8 of Pentacles is the worker bee card. It's the card of kind of slow and steady wins the race. It's the card of achieving what you want through sheer day by day perseverance, working a lot. It can represent, maybe some of you have been working a lot, putting in a lot of overtime, getting up early, staying up late, because you have a goal, you have a vision, you have something that you've been working towards. As this man has, he's got 7 pentacles in the air above him, signifying what he's already completed. He's hard at work on the 8th one, and he's putting just as much attention and attention to detail and perseverance into the 8th one as he has on the 7. This can also represent an apprenticeship period, learning how to perfect what you do, getting better at what you do by sheer repetition. It is a card of working hard, working in a dedicated kind of perseverance kind of way. Now, it's paired with the Hierophant, which is a card of convention, tradition, walking the prescribed path. It can represent large organizations, businesses, corporations, organized religions. It can represent, being part of a larger group, and sometimes can be. It can represent a certain sacrifice of individuality and self-expression, but the payoff is getting to belong to a large group of people, or kind of having that shelter and umbrella. It can represent, especially paired with the 8 of Pentacles, it can represent, working in a large organization or institution, being one of the many cogs in a large group of working parts. The Hierophant can also represent, on a relationship level, taking something to another level, taking something to a deeper level of commitment and responsibility as well. And work and career, it could be that some of you, October could just be a month of working hard towards getting to the next level on your career path, or within, within your job itself. It could be too that you are, in the month of October, going to be having more work responsibilities, maybe working more, having more work responsibilities. Some of you may be moving up the ladder in work. In terms of relationships, this can represent putting a lot of work into a relationship, kind of that day-to-day work and effort of a relationship, particularly long-term relationships, which, as anyone who's had a long-term relationship or marriage, they are work. They do need work to kind of sustain and keep going. Some of you, you may be working hard to take a relationship to the next level, or just providing stability and a foundation for a relationship. I'm saying this too, and I feel like whether it's job or relationship, because for some of you it's going to be one or the other, but the energy kind of remains the same regardless of how the specifics are, what area of your life that it relates to. There is a sense of There is a sense of wanting to take something to another level, or work. What you're doing is just working towards taking something to another level. Although I'm not certain that any major changes are going to actually happen during the month of October. It seems more contemplative. In fact, I think that if you push the issue, um, it may end up costing you in a relationship sort of way. And for some of you, I feel like for some of you Cancerians, there's somebody else that's showing up kind of on the scene here as primary in relationships. This is probably going to be the other person in the relationship, because next we have the King of Wands followed by Temperance. So the King of Wands would represent a fire sign individual, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. It is showing up as a male because it's showing up as a king. But this can simply mean a more masculine aspect of a person in relation to the subject. And it can also represent female, again, because this is a general reading. There's so many of you watching, could be male or female. But the King of Wands, a fire sign person or someone who strongly manifests the character traits of the King of Wands. This is somebody who is, I'm actually for some reason getting an Aries, which I often do off the King of Wands, but I'm getting kind of a strong Aries vibe off of this, although it could be any one of the other fire signs as well, Leo or Sagittarius. This is somebody who's very outgoing, somebody who's very much a go-getter, as a lot of the fire signs tend to be. But kings and queens represent individuals who kind of reached the mastery of their state. They've mastered and managed to balance all the character traits and character aspects that are inherent to their suit. They're very much not one to rest on their laurels for very long. Although being a king, this is a person who has learned to temper his impulsivity and spontaneity, or her, quite well, but still very much a go-getter, a problem solver, not one to rest on their laurels for very long. They're good at getting the job done, or inspiring and delegating other people to get the job done. Very charismatic, probably quite easy on the eyes, natural born leader. For some of you on an energetic level, this could be energy that you're being asked to manifest during the month of October 2017. But I feel like there's a sense of kind of tempering here as well, because it is actually paired with Temperance. And what I'm getting actually for a lot of you, because I'm feeling more of a relationship vibe off of this than anything else, is that you need to kind of tread pretty carefully within your relationship with this person, whether it's in a personal romantic relationship, or whether this is even in a business relationship or a working relationship for some of you. Because the King of Wands is paired with the major arcana card of Temperance. Temperance is a card of temperance, of balance, of harmony. It's about staying rooted in the middle, holding opposite extremes in perfect unison, balance, and harmony. Kind of like being in the middle of a seesaw or teeter-totter, being really grounded despite anything that might be going on an external level, because I feel like a lot of you are in kind of decision-making mode, that you're wanting to make some significant changes to a main or primary relationship in your life. Again, some of you, this is going to be perhaps a romantic relationship or a friendship you may be wanting to take to that level. It could be a working relationship, a relationship with a colleague or a supervisor of some kind, or just a relationship, a relationship, a work issue at work. Again, I'm getting this sense of wanting to go further, wanting to go to the next level, wanting a deeper level of commitment and responsibility, and needing to kind of temper that. For some of you, you are manifesting or kind of channeling the energy of the King of Wands, and again, there's a sense of needing to be balanced. Temperance is about taking opposite extremes and marrying them, but in a slow kind of measured way, so that there isn't a sudden kind of shocking reaction. For those of you who might be chefs or familiar with the word tempering and cooking, it's about taking something extremely hot and something that's not hot and pairing them together. But if you do large amounts all of a sudden at once, you'll get sauces curdling and breaking and things like that. So you gradually, introduce one temperature into the other in small amounts, and then increasingly large amounts, kind of blending and mixing all at the the same time, because it's all about that slow blending, harmonizing, so that you don't get, you know, radical consequences from trying to do it too quickly, too much at once. So we're looking at kind of the same sort of concept here, Cancerians. For those of you that are working hard to take something to another level, whatever that something is, although it's a relationship of some kind, it's about kind of being balanced and tempered in that, even though this may be something that you've been invested in for a while and you're like, okay, I just want to get there, but still you're going to have to continue to take kind of a slow, more measured and thoughtful approach in that. Now, next we have the Chariot, followed by the Five of Swords. It's kind of coming together now. At the beginning, it was kind of a bit stuttered there. Sometimes happens in readings. So the Chariot, again, I'm feeling this cautionary advice. So there must be some of you out there that are really maybe wanting to push this issue, which is not always inherent of Cancerians, of water signs. But it feels like maybe a lot of you have been investing, or have been investing a lot of hard work into this thing for quite some time. And you're just kind of maybe at the point recently, like you're like, okay, I'm not seeing the kind of results I want, the time frame I want. So you're feeling like you're wanting to push it a bit more, but Spirit is saying, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Even if you feel like you should be, you've still got to kind of continue in the same measured approach here, because the Chariot and the Five of Swords, I mean, the Chariot is a card of success, but success that comes from kind of sheer perseverance. So it's almost winning just by sheer refusal of giving up, no matter what it takes. It's about being focused and intentional. It's about paying attention to your goals, continuing to put one foot in front of the other, not allowing yourself to be distracted. But it's also about taking a look at the resources that you have and pulling them together to achieve success as well. It's about staying focused on your goal, regardless of external events or things that are happening outside of yourself. It's about really staying focused on your goal. But it can also, there's also some cautionary advice around the Chariot too. It also calls you to take a look at what you're doing in order to achieve the results that you want to, and be careful not to, I mean, on the one hand, it can be about charging ahead, staying focused on your goals and charging ahead, winning by not giving up. But it also calls you to pay attention to how you're doing that too. You don't want to bulldoze anybody over, because you're actually going to end up working against yourself as well if you do that. And that's actually echoed in its accompanying card, which is the Five of Swords, which is a card that represents victory technically, but it may be victory that comes at a cost, and it may be kind of a hollow victory, meaning a victory that's showing now, but may not prove to kind of last the long run, or not. Because it shows a man who's obviously who's finished a battle or a challenge of some kind, and he's obviously the victor. He's won. You can see his opponents and foes are on the ground behind him. They're obviously defeated. He has gathered up all of their weapons, their ability to hurt him, and he's holding his own sword aloft in victory. But it's still kind of a grim-looking card. I mean, he's tired, worn out, exhausted. He's bleeding from a little cut on his forehead. This is a battle which has actually cost him quite a bit. And sometimes the people on the ground behind him can represent winning at the cost of stepping on other people or coming out ahead, but it actually costing you relationships. And the question which accompanies the Five of Swords often is, has something been worth the victory? Is winning really worth what you had to go through, particularly if you had to lose people or it caused conflict in relationships? Or it's about choosing your battles wisely too. Is it worth the effort that it's going to take to do this? Sometimes this can represent a card that about, ultimately on an energetic level, it's a card about yourself. It's a card about taking care of yourself, putting yourself first. But it can go either way. Sometimes it's a card of selfish victory, of pushing ahead to achieve your goals because it's what you want, regardless of what it does to other people along the way, or regardless of what you have to do to achieve this victory. And as to the question of whether it's worth it or not, sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes it's no. Sometimes this is about standing up for yourself, even when standing up for yourself or taking care of yourself or putting yourself first may cost you relationships or conflict within relationships, but you still have to do it because it's about staying true to yourself and your own path. That's a different scenario in and of itself. But combined with the Chariot, I'm getting this strong cautionary advice of being careful, especially looking at the rest of the cards in context. Be really careful about, it feels like there's something you really, really want, Cancerians, whether it's within a relationship or maybe a work situation. Spirit is really cautioning you, even though it feels like you should have what you want by now because of the work you've put into it, you still need to kind of keep the same pace and continue to be even and moderate, continue to keep focused on your goals, continue to push forward with your goals, but don't get so frustrated and overwhelmed at what you feel you should have versus what you have that you end up being too aggressive, because it's going to end up costing you in the long run. So that's kind of what I'm getting. Now, at or towards the end of the month, we have a pretty powerful combination of major arcana cards. We have the Lovers, followed by Death or Transformation. So let me just take a quick look at this again. So this is coming across primarily as relationship oriented, regardless of the nature of that relationship. Again, for some of you, it could be in the job and work situation. You can always translate this energy to other areas of your life. I'm just telling you what I'm channeling specifically first and foremost and the strongest, which is what I have to go in. But you can relate this to other areas of your life, because it's not going to be a relationship reading or come across that way for everybody that watches, because that's impossible. And of course, it's not fair for people who aren't in a relationship or whose relationship doesn't resemble this. But that's why general readings can sometimes be tricky. And watching your rising and your moon sign can sometimes be more helpful if this is your sun sign and you're like, I'm not feeling it. Because I'm feeling like it's more to do with a relationship, even though the nature of that relationship may vary depending on who you are. Because this combination at the end of the month, the Lovers and Death, it's a powerful combination, two major arcana cards, and it's all about transformation and making major decisions that are going to have a transformative effect on your life and most likely the effect of a partner, whether that's a romantic partner, a working partner, but it's about making significant changes or making significant choices about a primary important relationship, regardless of the nature of that relationship, which is really what the Lovers is about. Fundamentally, it can represent that soulmate, kindred spirit, really connect, a very passionate connection between two people, two lovers, so to speak. It's also about needing to make choices as well. In the early tarot decks, this was not actually called the Lovers, it was called the Choice. It showed a man standing in front of two women, the implication being, of course, he had to make a choice that was going to affect the lives of all three people involved. Or not to say that this has to do with a triad sort of choice. I mean, it might be that way for some of you out there. But it's about needing to make a significant decision, or wanting to make a significant decision that's going to make an impact or transform an important, significant primary relationship. Because it's paired with Death, which is transformation. Death and the Tower are kind of similar energies. They are about external forces coming in and creating changes in our life, which we have no control over. We have control over how we choose to react or deal with those, or what value we take from those. The Tower is more about external events which kind of shake us up on an internal level, perhaps make us re-examine belief systems, how we look at something. Death represents complete, total endings or transformations of what's already there, but in a more external sort of way, like making major changes, especially combined with the Lovers card. Again, it's about, I feel like a lot of you, it's really coming down to this, wanting to have a change, wanting a relationship that you're in to undergo some kind of major change, and wanting it bad enough. And because that's not inherently true of a lot of water signs to just kind of really want that and you know, want to bulldoze into that, it kind of speaks to perhaps for some of you the length of time you've been investing in this relationship, whether it's romantic or working or some other kind of project. I feel like a lot of you, because Cancerians tend to be, water signs tend to be, well, maybe more emotionally sensitive, but they also tend to be a little bit more patient, say perhaps sometimes than fire signs, and wanting to make changes and just kind of running in there and go, okay, let's change this. Let's do what we need to do. But I'm feeling that kind of from you for the month of October in regards to this relationship, which kind of speaks to maybe how long you've been investing or waiting, or how it feels like you've been investing and waiting in this, and you've been working really hard at this and really putting your all into this. And it's like, okay, well, I'm ready to see these changes. I'm ready to see this progression within this relationship. And I'm feeling like it's not kind of happening the way I want or in the timing I want. So you're getting kind of like you're wanting to push it, wanting to push it. It feels very strong. I feel like for the month of October, there might be some occurrences. Maybe something happens with this other person, and you're just, it feels like there's going to be some times during October where it comes to where you just really want to be much more assertive and aggressive. And Spirit is saying, be careful about how you do that. It's not to say, you know, take a back seat and don't set your boundaries and don't speak your truth and what you want. I mean, if you're in an unhealthy relationship and you're in a relationship with someone who's ultimately not wanting it to go the same place, well, then you have some significant decisions and choices to make. But for others of you, there's a sense of divine timing and orchestration at play here, and you need to allow that to unfold and keep doing what you're doing, and make sure that you don't go charging ahead and forcing the next step to happen sooner than divine timing and orchestration would have it, because you might have some temporary success in doing that in the month of October if you really push it. But what I'm getting is if you do that, there's a pretty good chance it might actually end up costing you and working against you a little bit further down the road. So be careful about that during the month of October. And I feel like it's about, you know, taking it to the next level or offering something. It could be for some of you that you've had a partner offer you, or you've been talking about doing something different with a relationship, taking it to the next level. What that might mean for you, it could mean moving in together, getting engaged, getting married, buying a house together. In a working relationship, it could mean, you know, moving ahead, promotion, partnering with somebody, investing. You know, this could be a wide variety of things. Like I said, it's a general reading. It's going to resonate differently. Fundamentally, the energy remains the same. You're wanting to push ahead on something. You're wanting to make an offer. You're waiting on an offer, or you're considering one. It looks like there's going to be some temptations to really charge ahead and push it in some way. Spirit is advising against that strongly. Overall energy is the Knight of Cups. Offers opportunities of love. The Knight of Cups is all about that. Knights usually represent something being brought to you, or you bringing it to somebody else, because they are the mode of delivery. They can also represent the speed at which a situation moves, how you may be called to act, or how you may feel like acting. It can sometimes represent another person, which would be perhaps another water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, because this is the Knight of Cups. Cups is water. It's emotions, feelings. So this would be an offer of love, an opportunity of love. This would be somebody like expressing their love, expressing their feelings, their wants, their desires. And the Knight of Cups really, his challenge may be in going overboard, because the Knight of Cups is kind of romantic, idealist, in love with love itself. His challenge also may be in following through, because he gets kind of caught up in the heat of the moment, promising the moon, the sun, and the stars, but maybe not being able to kind of follow through with that in the long run. So, you know, and it could just be somebody offering, you know, expressing their feelings, asking you on a date, or vice versa. Although with the combination of the Lovers and death or transformation, I feel like this is much deeper, much more important than that. Again, there's a sense of just wanting to spill it all out. Nothing wrong with that, Cancerian. You lovely, emotional, sensitive Cancerians. But this month, you're being cautioned. Temperance above, this probably should have been your crowning card. Temperance above all else. Your goals are great as long as they're healthy. It's not like you're being asked to keep quiet, not speak your truth, or not address things, but be careful about how you do it. This is a month of moderation, sticking to your goals and keep working for those. But maybe be careful of like what you say and how you act and decisions you make. This is a month of moderation. Really nice reading. I know it's a little bit heavy, Cancer, on the kind of moderate yourself, be careful, don't be, lunging ahead and pulling at the chain and all of that. It's still a lovely reading. What I'm feeling overall is that there isn't anything about, you're going for the wrong goals or you're investing in something that isn't there, or anything like that. And again, it looks like there's a fire sign kind of tied up in that as a primary, the other primary person or the significant person. I'm not getting anything about stop doing what you're doing or stop hoping or working for what you're working for. It just feels like maybe you've reached a point, you know, where you're wanting to push for the final result. This really isn't the month to do that. Although if you're in a relationship and you're really feeling like, you're not getting enough from your partner, definitely be honest about that, but do it in kind of a moderate, balanced way. Maybe just say, maybe you just need a little extra TLC this month, and there's nothing wrong with expressing that. But this is not a month to be forceful and to kind of push for the long-term goals to come into completion right away. So Cancer, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope that at least some of you have found it maybe useful or enlightening, that it's given you a little bit of insight and feedback, because that is why we do these readings. Again, if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me and you haven't read with me before, you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage, click on that About or Description button for some more information, and my email address, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. That's MAGGIE, the number 1, MCGUIRE@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the October 2017 mid-month readings. Until then, as always, Cancer, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.